you look at it, you would have gotten like 3-4 flowers in your compound, in your residence, in your church premises, in your industrial area. By the time you put 1 flower, 2 flowers, 3 flowers, because when we talk of flowers, you can't have a garden without flowers.
Okay.
Even if it is a rock garden. No, we have rock gardens. So when we are talking about garden, it is a plot of ground cultivated mainly for fruits, vegetables, plants. So is a space created out of your residence, your environment, for grasses, for flowers, for fruits, for vegetables, depending on what you want. Yeah, depending on what you want to use it for. Some people, you could see a garden with just a tree. The rest will be grasses on the ground surrounding it. You could see a garden with stones and few flowers. Some people will say they don't want to have grasses, they don't want to go into the maintenance difficulties of cutting, looking for someone to come and cut. So they can interlock everywhere, they can raise stones, they can buy stones fixed, and then have few flowers that will not shed leaves for cleaning up or maintenance. So people have gardens consciously and unconsciously. You know, somebody will say, I don't need garden, I don't need, just put 2-3 flowers for me, and you do it. And at the end, they will call for more flowers. That's unconsciously. He didn't want it, he didn't create space for it. Maybe a little space. By the time you put, oh, come and look at it, Udeme, can I put more flowers? Say, yes, sir. What kind of flower can I put? By the time I need only 1 flower, you put 1 flower, and so is an interesting thing. Is a natural thing. Is a very interesting adventure around you. Having a green environment, having where you can sit under a tree, having where you can pluck fruits to eat. The one you're sure of that is not cooked somewhere to become ripe. That is very natural. So is an interesting thing. So is an interesting topic for us to discuss this morning.
In our environment, Akwa Ibom, or you in particular, that's where you base Uyo.
Yeah.
So what has been your observations with people when it comes to planning gardens?
My observation within Uyo is that people don't like having gardens. People don't like having gardens because of the maintenance culture.
Okay.
People don't want.
So it takes a lot.
Yeah, you maintain. And before having a garden, you know, there must be access for water.
Which will
a good drainage system in your compound. So people don't just want to go through these hurdles to have a green environment. You say, sir, you've interlocked everywhere, madam. No, let's have a green area. For what? I don't want to attract snakes. I don't want insects. I don't want mosquitoes. So you have to maintain this garden depending on the type of flowers you're planting, types of trees, the types of fruits or vegetables, the herbs. You know, some of these leaves, some people plant, they come and ask you, what can this be used for? What can this be used for? They pluck those leaves, they use them, and they believe in it, and it works for them. Some of those leaves around the gardens are very medicinal. So, is around you, people don't really attach importance to that. It's when you go to Abuja, you go to Lagos, you go to Port Harcourt, you see people have gardens within a short space. The little space they have in their residences, in their offices. Even some people have indoor gardens because they want to relate with nature. They like it.
Now let's understand more about the indoor. How is it? How is the area? How is it designed when it comes to the indoor? So the other aspects. We're talking about the outdoor.
The outdoor we have the indoor gardens. Yes. You create a space for it. You fix stones. We can raise the flowers in pots.
Okay.
We can raise the flowers in pots. Different types of flowers that won't grow wild.
Oh, yes.
But it will still be maintained, watered. And
yes, you've talked about a lot of points which we would need to touch one after the other as we progress in the program. But first, let's look at the key principles of garden planning.
The key principles of garden planning, one is unity. How do you unify the flowers? That's why when you want to have a garden in your residence, anywhere, call for an expert. Even if an expert is not planting for you, let him or her advise. let him or her advise. There should be a layout, there should be a design, there should be a planning. Sometimes when people design their buildings, when a building is designed on the blueprint, possible there may be no room for a garden, but as you're building, you now called, don't come and see this place, I want a garden. And in the design, the blueprint, there's no space for it. We create. So unity, how we unify the flowers. I can't put a tall flower here and then put another short one here. I have to make sure I put a flower here and another one here that grow together. We talk about shape. We talk about the texture, the soil. Is it a top soil? Is it a black soil? Is it a soil that is fertile, that will allow plants to grow? Is it if the soil is not good, we pour a good one. We can bring in a top soil and then put on the soil before planting. Then we look at the colors. Some people said, I want all green. Some people said some people will want flowers that will bring out colors. Some people do not just want it. They don't like the sight of it. All they want is just flowers, no colors. But professionally, you have to look at the colors, you mix them. You said, okay, this one is yellow, this one is going to bring out red, this one will bring out pink. Like if you want to go do hibiscus for someone, the person said, I want the pink hibiscus, I want the white, I want the one that has two colors. You know, we have a hibiscus that has two colors. So the principles, the number one thing in that principle is your location, your space. Your space. Will it be conducive for what you want? The unity, how will we unify everything? Do you need stones in it? Do you need a waterfall? Do you need do you have space for, do you have access to water? Then what kind of garden do you want? You want a traditional garden? You want a vegetable garden? You want a modern?
Those are the types.
Yeah, a modern garden. What do you want? The person will tell you what he or she wants. You want a stone garden? You want a rocky type? We create it for you. So another principle there is the texture, the soil. We observe the soil. If the soil type is not good, is either we removed it, we change it, we put another one.
Okay, that can be done artificially.
Yes, the soil can be treated to avoid termites from eating up the plant, the flowers when we plant and leave. You know, you plant and leave and somebody will call you. So those are the principles, things you look at. Your space, flower choices, texture, color. You look at your soil type. Then above all in these principles, maintenance. Can you maintain what you're asking for? Can it be maintained? You know, you see industrial premises or an economic environment, you see grasses grown. Sometimes you go even the government environment, you see a lot of grasses grown, no maintenance on time. Before those grasses are cut down, they could attract snakes, they could attract insects, mosquitoes. There are some government environments you go to and you walk around, big mosquitoes will bite you. Why? No maintenance of the green environment. They are not maintained. Those things were done maybe years back, but the maintenance culture is very poor. It comes late when the grasses, the trees, the flowers would have grown very well. So those are the common ones, principles that you observe when going into having a garden. It's not just planting.
We don't have to skip this. Let's look at the benefits, the goals of having a garden.
Yeah, the benefits.
And designing it.
Designing it is the benefit of designing it is it will put everything in order. It will put everything in order. If it is designed, no matter how small the space, it will put everything in order. If I put a plant, a flower here, I measure. Say, okay, 1 meter. Measurements has to come in. Measurements. You don't just pick a flower, you go, you plant. You go here, you plant. You measure them and make sure they are in order. Then the benefits of a garden is it provides food.
Okay.
It provides food.
And I'm sure fresh one at that.
Fresh one. You're very sure of what you're getting and what you're eating. It's not the one you get from the market you keep today, tomorrow is spoiled because of the where it came from, the processes it has been through. Then it gives you shelter. From a garden, a tree can be gotten to use for your farm, to raise yam, to raise cocoa yam, to raise your sweet yam. Then from the garden, we have sheds. During the hot season, when the sun is very hot, you go inside, you sit, and it's warm. You relax. You can meditate. You can have some creative ideas. So the garden has a lot. You can pick up your fruits, you eat. You can pick up your leaves, you cook. Like you can have your mint leaves, you can have your mint leaves. Even the scent leaves is part of the garden. Some people have it. They ask you to plant those things for them that are not wild. They pick them up for cooking. They pick them up to season their meals. So those are the few benefits that are the common ones.
Okay.
The common ones.
From some of the points you mentioned, one of the things you said was about a good layout. So now let's look at this layout in terms of how I can create a functional garden layout that meets my own need. For instance, I want to plant vegetables, or I want to plan a garden for entertainment. Let's look at the layout.
Okay, if you're talking about
that meets a client's needs. So I cited example like a vegetable garden or entertainment garden.
Okay, if you're talking about an entertainment garden, we have one at Brook Street, you know. That's an entertainment garden.
Okay.
Where people go relax, do all sort of parties. It's even free here. Don't pay money. Birthday parties. Some people come there to shoot for their weddings, for their traditional marriages. All kinds of parties going on there, especially on weekends. They have to be a proper design by a professional. You take a professional there, they measure the space and design it properly. Then you also look at the kind of people that will make use of this environment, this garden. Who are the people that will usability? You look at the usability, the needs. What do you need? What do you want? Who are the users of these gardens? Even around your house, who are the users? Do you have children?
Okay.
You have to, okay, will people be going into your, you know that some gardens people don't go into. The owners don't allow people to go into them. They don't want people to match the grasses. If you want, they say, no, don't walk. Use the path, use the path. The director say, use the path. You see children want to jump in, they say, no. Even like what we have here in Uyo, you don't drive a bicycle on top of it. They won't allow you.
Okay.
People walking there will stop you. You can't drive a car into the space, the garden space. They won't allow you because you can kill the grasses, you can kill the flowers. So when you're talking about an entertainment garden, it's highly professional. You don't just go to a florist, pick up flowers, pick up plants, pick up fruits, whatever you want to put, and then you go and start. No, the person you're bringing will work professionally according to the design, where the space that the gardens has occupied in the blueprint of the design of that area that has been done maybe by an architect, sure, by an architect. So it has to be professionally planted.
With expertise and professionalism when it comes to garden, you know, one thing that comes to mind is that if you want to buy a vegetable, you want to buy any article, you can just walk into the market and get what you want for yourself. But when it comes to areas like this, I'm looking at if I want to plan or design a garden now, how are you people sort it out?
When I
they get the experts.
Okay, when you get them, you can go to you drive around town. You will see where they have flower gardens. You go to them, ask. There's some people that sell flowers and they don't plant. There's some people that plant flowers, they don't plant grasses. But there are some that plant grasses and also plant flowers. Sometimes you go to someone and say, no, I don't plant grasses. He said, okay, I want you to come and plant grasses for me. He said, what type of grasses do you want? He said, you want the carpet grasses.
Okay.
You know the carpet grasses? They said, no, I don't do that, sir. Can I give you someone's number? They send your number to the person and the person calls you. Or someone could go to somewhere and see your work. Who did this?
Okay.
Who did this? And they said, oh, maybe a company. They said, who did, please, can you come and do this for me? He said, no, it's a subcontractor that did it for us. They said, oh, who is a subcontractor? Give me his or her number. Okay. And they call on you. You go, the person tells you, like, if you want a garden, I will work on it according to your choice of plant, your choice of space available.
Yes, with this choice of plants.
Choice of plants.
So how do you select them to thrive together and complement?
I can advise. Okay. I can advise. So, and then I also look at an environment where children are growing. If you have grown children, I won't bring in flowers that have thorns. You know thorns? That are very harmful, yeah, to the skin. I won't bring in those kind of flowers. But if you tell me children won't go there, I don't have children, you tell someone like that, yeah, they can put those ones for you. There's some flowers that with thorns. You know the rose? The rose. You know they have thorns. Okay. Very harmful.
Yes.
So you have to be careful. So when you're put, that's why
even as lovely as
yeah, very lovely, different colors. They are lovely. So that's why some people put them beside a fence.
Okay.
Beside the wall of the fence, so it grows on top of it. So people don't just go around there. Oh, so people were playing. Oh, I fell off. The children will say, I went to pluck the flowers. Even as an adult, if you're going to pick the flowers, if you are not careful, you get wounded. So those are the things that should be brought into consideration. So if your choice of combination of the flowers are not going to be perfect, I advise. The person would advise. And sometimes you have an argument with a client, you know, you argue. At the end, when you're done, one day you just see the person call you, Madam, thank you so much. I'm sorry about those arguments. You know, sometimes you could argue with people to give them what they want, what is good for them.
One of the things you mentioned when you were explaining, you talked about paths. And that is the hardscapes or the softscapes.
That's the hardscape.
Okay, hardscape, the paths and the walls.
Yeah.
So how do I incorporate them into my design to make them or to have cohesive look?
You know, when you're talking about the softscape, it consists of the grasses.
Okay. It
consists of all the elements that lives, that are alive, that grows. Yeah. That matures. While the hardscape has to do with non-living elements in the garden, the softscape has to do with all the living elements in the garden, while the hardscape has to do with non-living elements. So what are these non-living elements? The stones. You know, you could create a path for someone in a garden and they don't want to interlock it. They just want stones to be poured on it. Some people go as far as using the periwinkle shells, yes, to make a path. It's creativity. The periwinkle shells. Some people put coconuts. You know coconuts?
Yes.
They also put coconuts.
The shell.
The shell there too. Though those ones are dangerous.
Oh, coconuts or kernel?
Coconuts. Kernel too can be used. Yes. When you talk of creativity, like if you want to do a traditional garden, those are the things you use. The palm kernel shell, coconuts, the periwinkle. Those are the ones you use to create a traditional garden.
Interesting.
Then in a traditional garden, you have some statues.
I wish you had brought a picture of this.
You have some statues. You have some statues. You have a waterfall. You know, most of those ones belongs to people that are like from 60, 70. They like it. Some of those gardens are not common. They're not common here.
Let's look at the steps for garden planning and design.
Yeah, the steps for garden planning and design is: 1, consult a professional.
Okay.
Consider your space. Don't ask for more than what your space will carry, and by the time it's 3 months, Madam, you created a bush for me here.
Okay.
You will now call me and tell me that everywhere is bushy. I will tell you, sir, who will maintain this garden? Some people, we still do maintenance. You do maintenance. They also use the professionals for maintenance. Most people just pay monthly, weekly, or as the person goes to maintain the gardens. It's not just about the space, planting, but maintenance. Access to water.
To water, yes.
Access to water.
And
the drainage of your the premises. The drainage. Can water flow out? Because when it gets stick to what you are put on ground, it will not allow it grow better or fast. It won't grow well. They can be stunted, they can die when water is not flowing out of the garden. The water has to leave. So there should be good access, good drainage for water.
How about the lighting?
The lightings too. The lightings is an individual difference. The lightings.
Because there are some places, like you talked about, the indoor
garden, yes.
There is how a space is, and it's not really exposed to.
It's not exposed to light.
So how do you treat that?
Like could that be in a? That could be in an indoor garden.
But the sunlight is necessary.
You know, sometimes you go. They call you. You go. You can bring out those plants to observe sunlight. If there's no space to open for sunlight to reflect on the flowers, the flower will definitely need the sunlight. It will definitely need the sunlight. So it's either you make it close to where the window can be open, or the curtains can be open and sunlight will reflect, or they take them out once in a while for sunlight.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, from maybe you did not see from the pictures on the screen, the clips you brought. What I've seen, that there are some gardens that somehow can attract wildlife, so and support maybe biodiversity. So I don't know how, as a professional, how you go about this. The consideration you have to avoid those things.
One, if you're having such a garden, big space, someone is living there, it must be fenced round, because you know these wildlife, they are attracted to those things. It could be birds, it could be crawling things. So if it's fenced round, it will reduce. That's why we talk about maintenance. Someone has to be observing the garden.
Okay.
Did you see a snake? What did you see? They come. The area can be fumigated. Fumigation also comes in when you have a garden. You do fumigation to avoid mosquitoes, to avoid flies, to avoid other crawling things walking into there and then brooding inside either the flowers or the trees. Is under maintenance.
Lovely. Now, how can I, personally, I'm using myself now to talk to the audience, how can I create a design or a garden that is sustainable with low maintenance and then eco-friendly?
That was why I said initially, I said when you're talking about creating a garden, you have to think about your wants, your needs, and the users. So what do you really need? What do you want? Usability will be for what? Do you just want to come out, view a beautiful space with flowers, listen to the sound of the birds? So you have to consider those things. What are you using it for?
Okay.
Can you maintain it? Can you maintain it? Maintenance is the most important thing when you're advising someone on how to create a very beautiful garden. I will tell you, Caro, can you maintain this garden we are looking at? Yeah, because you could have water, but won't have the strength to water it if you don't have someone helping during the dry season. It will need water on daily basis. That's why some people reduce.
So this does not come under low maintenance then? With all the things,
no, it's low maintenance. You have water in your compound, you're not buying now. It's low maintenance now. So you must do what you can afford to maintain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't, you saw it somewhere very large, very big. You know, some people
decide to go for it.
Someone will see a flower, they will snap and send to you or bring to you. You said, sir, it's expensive. I will tell you now, Karu is very expensive. That is what I want. So by the time I go, I may not have it. I go and find out. They said it's 100,000. For what? Am I going to feed on it? You know? I said it's 100,000 naira, sir. It's 150. And the size he wants. Because these flowers, their prices are rated according to the sizes. We have the nurseries. We have the premature. We have the matured ones. So you'll be charged according to the type, according to the size. So what you must consider is, can you maintain it? Yes. Can you keep it beautiful? Can you keep it greenish? Can you keep it beautiful, colorful?
And when it comes to this maintenance, is it something you can do on your own as individual?
If you have the time, you can do it. But if the space is big, you may not have the time. Because sometimes those flowers need manuring. You manure them.
Okay.
Yeah, you manure them. You go around, you trim the dead leaves. You go around, you remove weeds. Like you're very busy now, you may not have the time. So you need a professional to come around once in 2 weeks, once in maybe 2 times, 3 times in a month
to take care of that.
Yes. Then you pay.
Oh, really interesting.
You pay.
Now, it's been all the questions that I've been asking you. So maybe I've left out some aspects that you feel is necessary for your audience to know about this garden planning and design. So your parting words, what do you have to
My
say
parting words
when it comes to the focus where we have at hand?
My parting words on this focus, garden planning and design. Make sure you create space for a green environment, for a garden in your compound, no matter how little. You need a green area to add beauty, to add color to your residence, to your premises. You need a green environment. You need a garden around you. For your fruits, fresh fruits. You need a garden to breathe fresh air. You need a garden to listen to the sound of the birds in the morning.
Okay.
You need a garden to sit out and relax. Most time you don't want to be inside the building all the time. You come out, you sit. You need a garden to meditate. You need a garden for good thoughts, positive thoughts.
Okay.
So make sure you have a garden around your home, around your office, indoor and outdoor.
If not for any other thing, for relaxation. And for that fresh air. Okay, Mrs. Odemoyoyo, thank you so much for your thought and making out this time to be in the studio with us to give us all these. I'm sure somebody has learned one or more things about this when it comes to garden planning and design. And if this is your need, I'm sure with all this information that we brought your way, you can now create your dream garden. Thank you so much for being a part of this bit of the program. It's been Heartbeat, and this is where we draw the curtain on this show to allow time for Kamkoda and his crew to make you laugh more. Don't go away. I am Caroline Otu. Please stay tuned.